I almost threw away 300 worth of walnut because of a 50 mistake I made in my garage at 2 a.m. Let me tell you about the night that changed how I approach every single woodworking project. It was a Tuesday, around 2 a.m. I'd been working on this dining table for my wife's birthday. Solid walnut, the kind of wood that makes your wallet cry but your heart sing. 3 weeks of planning, measuring, and carefully selecting each board. This wasn't just furniture, this was supposed to be an heirloom. But here's where I messed up. I was tired, running on my 4th cup of coffee, and I grabbed the wrong chisel. A cheap 50 set I'd bought years ago, instead of my good Narix chisels. It's just one cut, I told myself. What could go wrong? Everything went wrong. That dull blade caught the grain wrong, and I watched in horror as it tore a chunk right out of the tabletop. Not a small nick. We're talking about a gouge so deep, you could hide a quarter in it. My heart dropped to my stomach. 3 weeks of work, 300 in premium lumber, and my wife's birthday was in 4 days. I stood there, staring at this ruined piece, feeling like the biggest failure. You know that feeling when you've let everyone down, especially yourself? That was me, holding a chisel that cost less than a dinner date, but just destroyed weeks of my life. But then something clicked. Instead of giving up, I got angry. Not at the wood, not at the tools, but at my own laziness. I realized I'd been cutting corners everywhere. Cheap tools, rushing through steps, ignoring the voice in my head that said, slow down. So, I did something crazy. I took that ruined table and turned it into a teaching moment. I filled that gouge with a beautiful butterfly inlay, using contrasting maple. Suddenly, the mistake became the most beautiful part of the entire piece. When my wife saw it on her birthday, she didn't see a flaw that was covered up. She saw a story. She saw the moment I learned that our mistakes don't define our work. How we respond to them does. That 50 mistake taught me more about woodworking than any YouTube tutorial ever could. Now, every time I walk into my shop, I remember. Respect the wood. Respect the process. And never, ever rush the craft. What's the biggest mistake that actually made you better at what you do? Drop it in the comments. I read every single one.